thinking on that when City Council could actually authorize a one-year contract, which apparently the controller is willing to move on, as long as everybody would sit down at the table afterwards. So I just, that part of it doesn't make sense to me. Al Bernitas raised an issue again tonight about the interactive abilities of the city's website. We talked about New Street. You've probably noticed that Stefco Boulevard's been resurfaced. May have run into construction again, some sort of work going on the Mincy Trail Bridge that has it restricted to one lane in each direction. If you traverse the south side, you're never quite sure which one of the presidential streets you'll be able to take to get between 3rd and 4th Street, and so on and so on. And my thinking is that if these kinds of traffic alerts were being made available on the city's website so that Bethlehem residents and anybody else who was interested could sign up for them, along with things like the availability of new zoning ordinances or historic preservation plans, I think the city's website would go a lot further in meeting the needs of the residents instead of just being kind of a puff site, if you will. Very disturbing to hear that overlays were completed on 2 blocks of New Street that will probably have to be violated for additional work. I'm wondering about Stefco Boulevard with the recent zoning variance at the old Pharmachem plant, where there'll be some sort of a grocery store developed, and what the impact on the newly overlaid Stefco Boulevard will be there. Also at the site of the former Mincy Trail Inn, where the Moravians are looking at doing an Alzheimer's facility, and what the impact on construction there will be to the overlays. I'm just wondering about the planning process and the timing about a number of those things. Very disturbed lately. I heard from a number of people regarding the negotiations with the fire department and the fact that it's now going to arbitration, but that there have been insinuations made that maybe one of the firehouses is going to be closed, in particular the one on Dewberry Avenue. And I would hope that if what I'm being told is true, that thought be dismissed immediately. Bethlehem has 5 firehouses to cover a city of almost 75,000 people and over 19 square miles. It would seem to me that in that section of the city, the residents out there would not take too kindly to losing a firehouse. So I hope if that's on the table, if that's part of those negotiations, those discussions, the arbitration, that some people get amnesia real quickly where that's concerned. The other thing that I've noticed we haven't heard about lately, and I thought we were going to hear about at a public safety committee meeting that was scheduled a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden everybody conveniently wasn't available, is the status of the new EMS center. Council raised taxes ostensibly to pay for that new EMS center. I know that the bids were due, I believe, at the end of March. Here we are 60 days out, and we know nothing about it. Hopefully that's progressing, and hopefully we'll see the shovel in the ground very, very soon on that particular issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Burns?
Al Burns, 1004 Johnson Drive. Just a quick point, in particular about zoning. I know that's going to come up in the weeks to come. I don't know when it's going to come before council, but it was very good to hear council say, President Batches, that there will be a number of public hearings about the zoning ordinance. Because you folks are going to be our last resort to getting anything changed in the ordinance. In particular, I just want to bring to your attention, you've been listening to a lot of people all night long, and a little tiny item like I'm bringing up right now, you just go right over your head. I'm going to try to support Young Howe's position without a Chinese accent so that you might be able to understand his message, okay? The other thing too is the 13,000-pound vehicle that's going to be permitted to be in a residential zone, that is being changed according to Darlene Heller to 10,000 pounds. But that still doesn't define what a commercial vehicle is. And there is an issue there. There's an issue of definition, and I'm not going to say anything more about it because I just want to mention it tonight because I will be mentioning it again to get the definitions right so that, especially those folks that happen to be fortunate enough to live on a piece of property that has enough room to park a tractor trailer next door, right? In certain residential areas of the city, you can't park a tractor trailer in the yard next door. But I'll be bringing that up again. I just want to kind of tickle your memories with that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, over here.
Sorry.
Good evening, my name is Cassie Hilgert. I live at 1160 Yorkshire Road in Bethlehem. I also work for Arts Quest. So for the president and for the members of City Council, I just wanted to say on behalf of Arts Quest that we are more than committed. I think we've made these comments in the paper, and we wanted to make them on record tonight, that following Music Fest this year in September, we are more than happy to sit down with City Council, with the controller, with the mayor, to discuss what the charges will be for the remaining years on the contract. I think it makes more sense following this year's Music Fest as the footprint changes of this festival. And we've been working very openly and transparently with the city and the administration about every single one of those changes. Let's get through that festival this year to know what we are dealing with exactly. So if there's any other questions that we can help to answer now in order to expedite this process, we are under an extreme timeline to submit this paperwork in order to get the necessary requirements and approvals that we need to put Music Fest on and to bring the economic benefits to this city that are necessary. So again, we are committed to having this discussion in the fall. We can put a timeline to that, but I certainly encourage all of you to do whatever you can in your power to get those leases signed so we can move on this paperwork immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shire?
Bill Shire, 1890 Eden Avenue. I won't belabor you with the 10 points I made to the Planning Commission about the new zoning ordinance tonight, much less the 14 that I kept in reserve. But I wanted to convey to you the nature of the Planning Commission meeting. After the public statements, there was a motion to forward the first revision of the zoning ordinance in 40 years and the zoning map to City Council. It was seconded, there was no discussion, and it was approved unanimously. No amendments, no discussion, not even a comment. And this is the City of Bethlehem Planning Commission. I'm glad to see that the council seems to be in mind to be more thoughtful about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? This meeting is adjourned.